So I saw Jenny this morning and we worked on some ADLs, mainly stuff within the bathroom for her. So she really needed help with transferring. And we did from toilet to wheelchair. And then we also did her mobility and stability for brushing her teeth. So, that is Kathy. Hopefully she'll contact me.
More things about Jenny. I really don't have time in my schedule to do this. I have to go see I have 5 more clients I still need to go see this afternoon. You know what, I'm sure she's fine in her competencies. I'm just gonna sign off on it. For Courtney.
Well, Kathy never contacted me on this, so I guess she was okay with everything, and I'm just gonna go on to the next patient, I guess.
Okay, so I'm just gonna fill out this documentation. So I saw Alex for 30 minutes today, and this was just assessing his handwriting using the BMI. So some things to note: right-handed. His writing went off the line. So I need to get with OT and interpret this assessment. I'm gonna sign it. I'll leave it for Ashley. All right. Hopefully she has time to look over that.
Okay, Megan did. So she met with Alex and worked on handwriting. I'm really gonna need to find a time to meet with her and interpret this and ask her some more questions before I sign this off. We have a really tight schedule though. I don't know when I can meet. Let me see if I can give her a call. Hey Megan, I don't know if you're going to receive this today, but I really need to meet with you and talk to you about the patient that you saw today and worked on some handwriting with so that I can sign off on your documentation. If you have some free time during our lunch tomorrow, I'd really love to meet with you. So just give me a call back or reach out to my email and we can get this set up. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to take this with me and we'll meet tomorrow. So were there any issues you had implementing this? How did it go with Alex?
I think it went pretty well. I think the only thing that would be helpful is if you could observe me do it another time, just because I feel like I didn't do it completely the way it should be done, so just having you observe would be great.
I think this looks good this time. I see you brought some examples and I think you were able to assess him well. I think we have interpreted this well. I am free next week, a lot more than I am this week, and we can either meet with one of your other pediatric clients that you have and go through it together, if that works with you.
I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today. I think that was
course.
very helpful.
I'm gonna sign this one. And I will see you next week.
All right, perfect. So for our scenario, we have the question of, if you are the CODA, do you feel comfortable with this level of supervision? And for the first scenario that I was in, I was the CODA with the red flags. I did not feel comfortable with the level of supervision that was given to me. I felt that if I had questions that I would not be heard by my supervising OT, And even though our schedules were busy, I thought that I should still be able to have time to go to my supervisor with any concerns, especially if it's for the safety of the client. And I felt that the OT did not care about my best practice being implemented for practice.
And I was the CODA in the other situation, and I think that it really made me feel more confident in my abilities to do assessments and engage with my clients. I feel like I was being listened to and not just working directly under the OT, but had more of a relationship with them. It can be really tough to schedule times to meet, but even a 5 to 10 minute meeting makes a complete difference. Having a relationship with the OT also builds rapport, but also is a great learning experience and allows you to collaborate more one-on-one. And home health setting can be hard to find time as well because you're both not in the same building during the day and are out seeing clients, so making that time is very important.
So for our second question, it was, if you are the supervising OTR, are you willing to sign off on someone you have never met? And we're not willing to sign off if we have not met with the CODA, because it relates back to the core values and we'd be infringing on that. And then also it would affect both our license and the CODA's license as well. And in my scenario, I did not feel like I had enough time to meet with the CODA, and I felt that I had other important things to do. So I prioritized my schedule over the best interest of the client, and I just assumed that the CODA was confident in her abilities and that everything would be fine with documentation and not look over it with her. I think that this scenario is not good because this opens up for mistakes to happen and things to fall through the cracks that could end up being detrimental to the clients.
And then in my scenario, being the OT, the fixed scenario that we did, I felt very sure about finding a time to meet with the CODA. I was able to squeeze in a time to meet during my lunch, just so that I know that she felt comfortable implementing the assessments and I felt comfortable signing off on her documentation after taking more time to talk with her, see if she had any questions. And I think that you should always know the CODAs underneath you and make an effort to see them at some point to know that you're going to be able to sign off on them. And even with scheduling conflicts, I think that this should be a priority for not only the safety of your own license and the CODA's license, but also for the clients. And then through the fixed scenarios of the OT and CODAs, we were able to communicate better and incorporate the OT core values. The core values that we believe truly relate to our scenario are altruism, truth, and prudence, and they can be seen through both the red flag scenario and the fixed scenarios, as we will explain next.
So for altruism is when the OT is making sure that everything is being done in an ethical way and acting in the best interest of the client. In the first scenario, altruism was not being demonstrated because the OT was more worried about her own time and schedule rather than the client's best interest in checking over the CODA's work.
And then another core value is truth, and this is where OT personnel must provide accurate information in oral, written, and electronic forms. So this is where the OT and the CODA need to be in communication with one another in order to provide the best care, and not doing so can actually be considered maladaptive practice. And so this relates to our scenarios where the OT and CODA don't meet to discuss, but instead the OT signs off because she has limited time to meet with them.
And finally, prudence is when the OT personnel uses their clinical and ethical reasoning skills, sound judgment, and reflection to make decisions in professional and volunteer roles. And this is something that does not feel right to either the OT or the CODA. Something needs to be said and actions need to be happened to address this concern. So with our scenarios, the CODA in the first one with the red flags was upset at the end that the OT did not even try to meet with her and she still continued to see her patients. And then the OT in the second scenario felt it was in her sound judgment and clinical reasoning skills to make sure that things were going smoothly with the CODA and to move forward for best practice of both.